Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, I have shown you how to write the API for the get all user and the update. So if you haven't watched that video, then just go to description there. I put the link for my previous video, or if you are watching this video after a while, then you will find all the links in the description of this video. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to write three APIs. That is, one is check token, second is change password, and third is forget password. So basically, I'm also going to explain you the use case of these all three APIs. So first, I'm going to write one API that is check token. So I'm going to start this one with get mapping. So at the rate get mapping, and I'm going to give it a path. So slash check token like this, and this is going to return a response entity of type string. And I'm going to name this one check token. Just copy this and paste it over here and just put the curly braces like this. Now this one is ready. Next thing, we have to move to the REST simple, because this is an interface. If you observe it over here, it's showing one related problem. Why this one? Because user REST simple implements this class, that interface, that is user REST, and it's asking for the implementation of that particular interface method which we have declared. So if I click on this implement method, and here you can see this check token, and click on OK. So now here you can see the implementation for this one. So here we have to put the stuff in the try and catch block. Exception ex. This is basically a good programming practice to put your risky code inside a try catch block. Okay, and if anything happens, then ex.print start trace. Next thing, what we have to do is we have to simply return, and this is user service. We have actually auto wired this one, user service. So we will use that user service dot check token. So we don't have any method with the name this check token on the service. So this will show an error for now. So now the task is not done. What we have to do is we have to copy this much part, and we have to also paste it over here. So in the case if exception happens, then what I want to do is I want to return something went wrong, and the status code will be internal server here. So if you're watching this video for the first time, then let me just explain you that in the previous videos I have created one class which is name is cafe utils, and inside that I have written one method that is get response entity, and this method is going to return some message except one argument as a string and one HTTP status code. On the basis of it return a response entity of type string. So that's why this one is not showing an error. Okay, so next thing what we have to do is we have to move to the user service, and here what we have to do is we have to simply type response entity of type string, and the method name will be check token like this. And if I move back over here, now the error is gone. Now we have to move on the service simple. So if I move back over here, it's showing an error because it's can't able to find the implementation for the check token. So click on this, click on OK, and let me just cut this part and move to the bottom over here. Just paste it, and again we are going to put the code in the try catch block. Ex like this one, and here we are simply going to return a simple message. Okay, so I don't need this try catch block. Simply I'm going to return cafe utils dot get response entity. Inside this one I'm going to return true, and HTTP status will be OK. So you must be worried that what is the use case for this one, that is a check token. So why I'm using this? Because we have already implemented the JWT token in our project. So what will happen if I try to use this API? So suppose if we are trying to hit this API without any valid token, then this will return a 403. And if you hit this with a proper valid token, then it will return a true. We are going to use this API in order to whenever we are trying to move from one page to another. Suppose I am a user and I have the user role and I'm trying to access some admin page. So whenever you pass the token and it's checked that if that user is admin and this is a valid token, then only it can route to that particular page. So this API is basically going to use in the order to validate the user. Okay, so next, now the task for this check token is done. Next thing what we are going to do is we are going to write the API for the change password. So if I move back over here and make some space over here, and I'm going to name this one, not name, this will be the post mapping first, and I'm going to name this one, this is the path basically, and whatever the path I put, that is the method name. So I'm going to need type change password. So we don't need to actually test this check token because there is nothing inside this one. If you hit this with a valid token, this will return true, else it will return 403. So that's not a big deal. You can easily check this. Okay, by taking the previous video reference, I'm going to show you how to check this change password with the help of Postman in this one, and also the another API which we are going to write, that is forget password. We're going to test these two. So this one is going to return a response entity of type string, and this will be change password, and it will accept one request body of type map of string comma string. This is request map. Just close this and press Ctrl Alt and L in order to format this one. So this is change password. Okay. Next thing what we have to do is we have to implement this in the REST impl. So if I move back over here, again it will show an error. Just click on this, click on this one, and click on OK. Or you can manually type it. This is completely as per your choice. So again what we have to do is we have to put this inside the try catch block. Exception ex, like this one, ex.print start trace, and again I'm going to copy this one like this. In the case if something went wrong, then I want to return this something went wrong and just print this exception in the console. Next thing, just as I've already explained that on the REST impl we never write the actual logic. So return, and I'm going to return user service dot change password. So change password is not there, but still I'm going to copy this one and paste it over here, and I'm going to pass request map inside this one. Okay, next thing, just move to the user service, and here we have to write the method. So response entity, and this will return of type string, and the name will be change password. Of type map of string comma string, and this will be request map. So if I move back over here, now the error is gone, but here we have the one related problem. What is that? It's trying to find the implementation of this one inside this user service impl, but can't able to find it. So here we will move to the top again, click on this implement method and click on OK. So it will give us an implementation and our issue is resolved on the user service. So if I move back over here, and here what we have to do, we have to put the code into the try catch block first. Exception ex.print start trace, and if anything goes wrong, then return cafe urls dot get response entity, and here we have to use cafe constants dot something went wrong and http status internal server error, like this. Okay, so this is the case when any exception occurs. So what exactly we want to do when anyone calls this change password API? So what we will do? So first thing, we will find that user by username. From the token we will get the current user. So in the previous videos while implementing the JWT token, I have explained you how to extract the user name or email ID from the that particular token. So I'm going to use that, and we have also written one method in order to extract the username. Okay, so I'm going to write one query inside this one, that is user DAO. Inside this one, I'm going to write one query. So this query is going to return a user object, and I'm going to name this one find by user name. If I move back over here to the user, and here we have this okay, not user, it's email. Okay, so we're going to use this email. So if I move back over here, and we have to type this one, email, and this is the email. Okay, so string email like this. So if what will happen, we are not going to write any implementation for this one in the user. Why? Because JPA by default provide whenever we write find by and any Pojo name, then it automatically generate query for that. So the Pojo variable, the column name. So if I move back into this user, you will find this the email is a column in our table. And if I move back over here, that find by, this is the email, and we have to pass the value. We don't need to implement this. It's automatically implemented in the background by the JPA. If you look over here, this is a JPA repository which we are extending in the interface. So it automatically provide the use case, the implementation for this one. So if I move back over here, so we are going to use that. And it's, as you have seen that this one is going to return a user object. So I'm going to take that value in a user object. So user is equal to user DAO dot find by email like this one, and we have to pass the email. So JWT filter dot get current user. This will return the current user email. Now we have the email. It means that if that email is not valid, then what we want to do? If not user obj, this is the user. I'm going to just name this one obj so that we can uniquely identify user object dot equals null. Then what we want to do? Just make some space, and here if this one is null, then I want to return cafe urls dot get response entity, and I want to return cafe urls dot internal cafe constants dot internal server error, or something went wrong, and http status will be internal server error in the case if we can't able to find the user. Okay, next thing, now we found the user and we have user inside this one. So next thing what I want to do, I want to actually, now we got the complete object. Now we want to match the old password from this user DAO. So if user obj dot get password dot equals, not ignore case, equals, and we get this request map dot get, and we will pass the password in the key old password. If this is the case, it means that the user have passed the correct old password. If the password is incorrect, then again I want to return cafe urls dot get response entity, and inside this one I'm going to pass incorrect old password. We will try that too, and http status dot, and I'm going to return 400, that is bad request. Now this is the case when the old password is mismatched. So now what will happen if the password is correct? So then what I want to do is I want to set the new password. So user obj dot set password, and I'm going to set this one request map dot get, and I want to set the new password like this one. So finally we have to just save this user object. So we will type user DAO dot, we will call the JPA method that is saved, and we have to pass the user object. So now finally this user object will be saved. So in this user object we have actually changed only the password. So only the password will be updated. After this updation, what we have to do is we have to return the message, that is cafe urls dot get response entity, and I'm going to return the message that is password updated successfully. So password updated successfully, and after this I'm going to return this status code of 200. So http status dot OK, like this one. And next thing what we have to do is we have to test this API. Now our API is ready. So if our old password is wrong, then we are going to return a message of incorrect old password. First we will check that if this one is working. After that we will check for the other stuffs if this one is working fine or not. So I'm going to start this application, and this will up and running on the port 8081, as I have set the property in the application.properties. So if you move back over here you can see this Tomcat started on port 8081. By default it started on port 8080, so you have to take care of this. So if I move back to the Postman, first I have to hit this login API so that we can get the new token. So if you see this, this is the email ID and password which we have used, and this actually exists in my database. So here you can observe that tom556666@melanator.com, and the password is 123456, and this role for this one is admin, and the status is true. It means that this one is active. So now I have called this API with this email and password. Here you can observe. Now I can actually copy this token, and we can actually use this in order to call the another API. So if I click on this, and our API which we have written, that is change password, is a post call. So if I click on this, select the post, and here you have to move to the authentication, click on this one, pair a token, and here we have to paste our new token in order to hit our API. Next thing, we have to move to the body, and we have to pass the body, so raw, and select the JSON over here, and it's expect two stuff. That is the first, the current old password, and the second one is a new password. So just select this, we need two, so just like this one. So here we will pass old password. Make sure you pass the same key, and new password. Take care of this character, that is capital and small. Okay, so if I move back over here, you can see this, the old password is 123456, but I am going to type 123455, and I'm going to update this one with 123455. If I try to send it, okay, sorry, I have actually missed this URL over here, so I'm going to copy this one and paste it over here. It's the user, and our API name is change password. So I'm going to type this one, change password, and try to hit this. Incorrect old password. So this one is working fine. If I move back over, just minimize this and minimize this one, and here if I move back over here, you can see this. Now the query is fired, and this one is returning the user object, and the old password is not being matched with the whatever I have passed. So this one is throwing or returning a message that is incorrect old password. So if I move back over here, and if I check the database, this one is 123456, and I'm going to change this one to 6, the valid, and I'm going to update this with 12345, or just like this, 654321. Just reverse of this, and so that we can see the difference exactly. And here you can see that this is 400 bad request which is being sent. So if I send this, and here you can see this password updated successfully. So if I move back over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm again going to fire the same query. So if I click on this one, select start from user, here you can see this 654321. So this one is working fine. Again, I'm going to change this one to 123456, and this one to 654321. Just send it, and password is updated successfully. If I try to run it again, so at the number 2 we have 123456. This one is working fine. Next thing what we have to do is, let me just stop this, and we need to write one more API in order to complete this user part. So if I move back over here on the user rest, next API is forgot password. So I'm going to write this one, so at the rate, this will be the post mapping, and the path will be forget password, and this is going to return a response entity of type string, and it will accept a request body of type map of string comma string. So it will be request map. Now if we move back over here you can see this, it's showing an error because it's finding an implementation. So click on this one. Now here we have this. Next thing what we have to do is we have to simply put this inside the try catch block. So try and catch exception ex, print the exception and return the custom message. So return cafe utils dot get response entity cafe constants dot something went wrong comma http status dot internal server error, like this one, and we have to call this forget password from the service. So return user service dot forget password, and I'm going to pass the request map into this one. This will show an error because in the user service we don't have any method with this name. So if I move back over here we have to write one method, that is response entity of type string, and this is actually forgot password, and this will accept map of string comma string request map. Now if I move back over here, now the error is gone. Next thing we have to move to this one and make some space over here and just go to the top and select it over here, import methods, and click on OK, and here we go. Finally we have to write the actual logic over here. So here first thing what we have to do is we have to extract the username and the complete object from this one. What is this? From the database actually. So just put all the code inside the try catch block. Exception ex dot print start trace, and if something goes wrong then return cafe utils dot get response entity cafe constants dot something went wrong and http status dot internal server error, like this one. After this what we have to do is we have to first fetch all the details for the particular user from the database. For that I'm going to use this user is equal to user.dow dot find by email, and I'm going to use this one. So request map, from this I'm going to get the email. With the help of this email we are going to extract the complete email ID, but the scenario is we cannot simply return the particular user ID and password to a particular user on the basis of simple email. So what we are going to do is we are going to fetch the data from the database and we're going to return that particular user ID and password to specific mail on which we have received this one. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to check this if not objects is null, and which is user, and not strings dot is null or empty user dot get email. If this is the case, then what we want to do is we want to actually return a message. So I don't need to put this curly braces over here, and if everything goes right, so then I want to return a message that is cafe utils dot get response entity, and I'm going to return the message check your mail for credentials. Like this, and the status code will be http status.ok. So this is the scenario. So if Suppose if someone passed the wrong email, then I don't want to let them know that this email doesn't exist in our database. We are going to return this message for the every email. This one is valid or invalid, because if we pass that invalid email ID or something like that, that is not a difficult stuff. But if we pass, then any hacker can know which email ID exists in our module or in our environment. Okay, so we don't want to do that. That's why this one is we were returning. So we have to write one more line of code over here inside the if block. This is not inside the if block. Okay, don't worry about that. So I'm going to write one more piece of code over here. So what is that? If I go to this email URLs, and here we have to write one method. What is that? That is to actually return the method, return the data. Okay, so here I'm going to write one public void forget mail, like this one, and this will return, actually expect string to whom you want to send the string subject and third is string password, and this will throws exception, messaging exception, and this will be mime message is equal to email sender dot create my message, like this one. Make some space over here. After this, what we have to do is we have to just type mime message helper is equal to new mime message helper, and inside this one we have to pass message comma, and we have to pass true, like this one. So we have put by mistake the double bracket, so just remove one. Okay, after this, what we have to do is we have to simply type helper dot set from, and here we have to pass the email ID which we have set in the application.properties. So I'm going to just copy that, and we have to paste it over here. Make sure you use the same email ID over here. So helper dot set to, and I'm going to set this one to helper dot set subject, and we have to set the subject over here. After this, we have to type the content which we want to send to the user. So I have already copied that in my notepad, so I'm going to just copy this one. I'm going to put this in the description of this video, so you can just copy it from there. So if I move back away, just paste it, and here you can see this is a basic HTML page. So your login detail for cafe management system, I will show you how this looks while we send the email to this one, and the password and like this, and this is a link. If you have any other link, the UI link, then you can use that over here. Click here to log in. So if this is inside a hyperlink, so if you click on this, it will let you move to this link, whatever you put it over here. This is what the content which we want to send. So inside this, after this, what we want to do is we have to send this message. So message dot set, first we need to set content, so HTML message, then, and this is of type text / HTML. After this, finally what we have to do is we have to send it. So email sender dot send, and inside this one we have to pass the message like this. Okay, so now the stuff is ready. Finally, what we have to do is we have to move back over here, and here we have to call this one. So inside the if block, what we have to do is we have to call this. So email URLs, we already have auto wired this email URL. So email URLs dot forgot mail, and we have to send this mail to user dot get email, and what is the subject? So credentials by cafe management system. You can set any other message as per your choice. And third thing is the user the password for the user. So user dot get password, like this one. Now our code is ready. If you move back over here, and you can observe that this code is inside the if block, and after that we are returning this message. So before we test this, what I want to do is I want to create the Melinator temporary email service for this one, that is Tom55666. So I'm going to just copy this one. Let me just open up my Firefox. Here we go. Next thing what we have to do is we have to visit this Melinator something, yeah, this one. Just click on this one, and here we go to the public inbox, and here we have to paste this and just click on go. Okay, so now this is the inbox is currently empty because we haven't sent any mail over here. So if I move back over here, and here what we have to do is we have to just hit that API. So I'm going to just copy this one and just move back over here and paste over here and just change this one to post call. Okay, so next thing, in this one we are not going to use the token. Why? Because if I move back to our code, and if I move back over here, that is the security config, you must observe that we have already bypassed this API, that is user/forgot password. So if you change the name, you make sure you change the name in the security config. So why we have bypassed this? Because we don't need to log in order to call this API, that is forgot password. If you have seen the quick overview, you can relate this one. So if you haven't seen the quick overview, then please watch that, and link is already in the description of this video. Okay, so just move back over here, and let me just move back to this one and just move back over here. So this is not change password, this is now forgot password. So forgot password, like this one. And if I move to body, and here we have to pass the raw data in the form of JSON, and inside this one we have to pass only the email ID. This is the email, and I'm going to copy this email from here, the actual email what is there. So if I move back to this Postman and paste this email over here and just send it. Okay, so our backend is not running, so I'm going to just start it. So now this one has started on port 8081. Here we go. So now we can hit this API. So if I click on this, and this will take some time. Here you can see this, check your mail for credentials. So if I move back to the browser, and here you can see this credential by Cafe Management System just now. If I click on this, and here you can see that this is the actual link which will be visible, that your login detail for Cafe Management System is this, the email is this one, and the password is 123456. If I move back over here, here you can observe this is the actual password. Okay, so this one is working fine. If I try to send another email which doesn't exist, like this one, and if I try to send it, it will show check your mail for credential, but nothing will be sent over here. Here you can see this, back to inbox, and only we have one email over here. And here we go. So this one is working fine, and here the query is printed whatever we are using, and this is how that forget email work. So that's it for this video, guys. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to design the Pojo for the category and all the APIs for the category. So just stay tuned, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Thanks for watching.